The concept is simple. Turn $50 into $1,000 playing the finest night tracks every Thursday night. This is Bankroll Building and Bourbon. Hello and happy Thursday, everybody. It's Josh here with On the Wrong Lead, trying to eat a slice of pizza because, my pizza delivery was like a half hour late tonight. Who would have thought, Caleb, that people would want to order pizza on the first night of the first full night of March Madness here?
Is that the thing that goes together? Pizza and sports? I don't know.
I mean, I clearly underestimated it because if you ask Mark, he would be like, I don't know, $1,700 wine and caviar or some shit is what he likes to pair with.
That's what normal people do for sports, right? I mean, Josh, maybe they were a little delayed because everybody ordered pizza with sports. I mean, that could also be a reason. Maybe they're a little busy.
Well, we're here doing our contest. Unfortunately, they're off here at Turfway. I bet this 2 to win, and it looks like he is not going to get there.
I was going to play a 2-3 exacta, but I got shut out, and it looks like I saved money.
There you go. That three came running a little late, but yeah, man. I don't know, man. Turfway has just been. I think you said it best, Caleb, a couple weeks ago. It's like, man, we know some people who've made a shit ton of money at Turfway. We are not those people.
I'm not that person. This track is just brutal.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
I mean, Jay's implying speed's real good, so
I missed that race, the 6 wire.
6 wired.
Yep, 6 wired.
Which would have been nice, except I didn't think the 6 would get the lead. I thought the 2 would get the lead.
Mm-hmm.
I did the same thing. I thought it was either 2 or 3 in that race, and the 6 goes to the front, and yeah, so yeah, well, good for you, Jay.
Jay had a nice, him and friend of the show, Dark Kevin, had a nice article up on HRN. If you guys haven't seen it yet, it's all about Turfway. It's like 20 tips for handicapping the synth. I still probably can't do
Jay,
it.
It's a different Jay, but
different Jay. Good call. But yeah, nice article up from some of our friends over at HRN.
Yeah, Dark. I know Dark from the summer. He's a very, very, very sharp handicapper. So anything he writes, I'd be very interested. I didn't realize he was writing for HRN, so that's cool. I'll have to check it out.
It was like an interview. I don't know who they did it with, but
Paulo Lobo had like 2 little blurbs that were not really insightful, but I guess it was still cool he was on there.
Yeah. Paulo Lobo and then 2 degenerates.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jay says we're talking about the good-looking Jay. So, Road Warrior coming out the gate right here right away, asking about Vegas. I talked a little bit about it. I'm drinking champagne, but I don't know, Caleb. How about outside of maybe Thursday night? Why don't you walk us through the Vegas trip? What did you think?
Dude, I had a lot of fun. I was sitting back, I was talking to Jess about it and whatever, and I was thinking back, and like every day was like a really good time, real chill. We had some good food. We got Lord knows how many free drinks, too many free drinks at the NHC room with all the drink tickets. I got to degen for a while on the ponies, got to go and hit up some craps, blackjack, slots, got to go downtown for a little while. So it was a really good trip. I think we know a few things we would do differently next time, or whenever next time is. You guys, you and Mark were kind of far from where I was staying with Brian and Sheldon. So that was a bit of a hassle, was just trying to coordinate that. But other than that, I think I had a great time.
Yeah, I kind of hope they pick a different weekend. Even if it was like 1 weekend earlier, there was a significant price difference between like 1 week earlier versus when we were there. And I think that would have helped because I mean, I personally, I love the south end of the strip. That's like my preferred place to stay. But I mean, if you're trying to get to Bally's, which is north mid strip, practically kind of the northern half, it's just a bear every single day. And I like to walk. Mark likes to take an Uber everywhere, and Mark also likes to take an Uber without telling people. So he did that twice. Did that twice on this trip. And mind you, we were only there for 5 days. So 40% of the time, Mark was taking the Uber without telling everybody. So, but what do you think, Mark?
No, I thought it was really, really good. Obviously, a good, good group of people, a lot of fun. I got to do some stuff I'd never done before. I'd always wanted to go downtown, never done that before. I think Circa was really cool. I'd never been there, and that's just a really neat vibe. Kind of go back to it. Circa would be amazing on a big sports weekend. That kind of thing. Really cool. If you've ever, I'm sure most people have seen pictures of it, but they basically built a casino around a sports book. So you can sit in the casino almost anywhere. You can watch the big screens from the sports book. I think we were there and you could bet on slap fighting of all things. I didn't realize this was a sport, but you can apparently bet on it. And
I actually don't know if you can bet on it.
They were, because like half of the because there's that like tiered section, there's a whole group of them that were all betting the slap fighting because they were going nuts whenever somebody got knocked out. So it was it was a really good time, really good people. Always nice to see Sheldon in person. Obviously he's a real good friend, and we always like to see him. There's some stories there as well that Steven is alluding to, and I'm not going to go into. What happens in Vegas,
That's right. Was there anything else to look at Circa? Just the monitors?
Oh yeah, just the monitors. Clearly, just the monitors. Gary and I are sitting. Well, I was sitting at one table, and Gary is kind of wandered off someplace else. And at like, I don't know, it's like 8 o'clock at night. They basically have go-go dancers that are also dealers. So they'll come out and they'll rotate, and they're in like the little skimpy outfits and things. And they're up on like platforms dancing away. And I was like, Gary, dude, you got to get over here like right now. like come fight. You need to change into another 3-card table. Come on over. And it was, scenery was pretty damn good. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was wild. 1 minute she's up there dancing, and 5 minutes later she's dealing you blackjack. I mean, it was something. But I was impressed with Circa.
Dealers.
They were not good dealers as far as actually dealing. They were very nice dealers to look at.
FYI, the D also has them, as does I think Golden Gate has them as well. So all of Derek's properties do have them.
Very cool.
But
by the way,
we were saying.
I was saying because we are doing the contest. I have a $5 double at Charlestown 10 over 1-7.
I like the 4 at Charlestown, so I just got a $20 win bet on the 4 here. Just as a recap, I have with that $20 bet, I'm down to 437.
Oh my god! You said in the introduction that the rules are simple, but this has been nothing.
Yeah, this has been anything but simple. So Jay's bringing up asking about the last day betting in the NHC, a little strange, and this is going to turn into an intervention to Mark. Mark, you got to watch your volume sometimes, dude. You
do I?
Dude, I was sitting right next to you, and you're just like everyone's like talking normal volume, and you're like, these guys are a bunch of idiots. What the hell are these guys doing? I'm like, dude, you were getting dirty looks from basically every other table around us. Because they're like, who is this guy who didn't even qualify, who's sitting here just yelling at the top of his lungs that these people are a bunch of idiots? And normally I would have been like, whatever, like it's just Mark. But then we also do have Mark, you yelling at the cab driver about your white paper on electronic cars or electric cars. Okay. What was the other one? On the way there, you were talking about the snow and skiing, and I forgot what else you were talking about.
I got talking with one of the drivers about I don't know, the other
Tesla.
The driver with the
Tesla.
We were geeking out over Tesla.
You started saying numbers, and I'm like, are those car models? Like, what are those? Like, what are you talking about? Oh my goodness!
See, Road Warrior gets it. Road Warrior gets it. My inner New Yorker comes out occasionally. I get a little loud, a little aggravated.
He's an upstate New Yorker. Get the heck out of here. Finger Lakes. He's from Finger Lakes wine country over here. But no, I think, and I think Caleb was like, Caleb said something. I know Mark, you said stuff at the table, just kind of like, looking at a lot of the guys are being very conservative.
Mhm.
And it was interesting, right? Because although it's a lot of money, right? So $50,000 is a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money. But when the difference between like second and third is $50,000, and the difference between first and second is like $600,000, like you got to play for the top prize. And like, yes, I get it. You guys are $60 behind, but that's also two cap horses, right? So like, why are you not trying to fire at longer prices and instead trying to move up, 10,000, you know, $5,000 in between places? I mean, like I said, it's easy to say that from sitting out, outside in. I mean, Caleb, you've heard this story probably more times than anybody in the world, right? But a certain somebody who didn't take a Mountaineer shipper to try to win the contest, instead took the safer pick. I mean, easy for us to say that, right? Even if one of the two of us did talk said person out of this horse. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I thought it was odd. It did seem like there was one guy who seemed like he did want to move up. I forgot his name already, but
I think
I
it
think
was
he's the guy in 10th.
Novik, I want to say.
Yeah. He was trying to move up, but he looked like he was taking shots.
The guys in 9th, 8th, 9th, and 10th were taking shots, but really anybody that had a chance to win didn't play to win. And, I think that's, in my, lowly opinion, that's probably a mistake. Or if I was there, I'd like to think I would play that more aggressively, because there were two horses that came in that were both like 10-1 and 13-1 in the mandatories that were uncovered completely. And I'm not saying I would have had that horse, but at the same time, I wouldn't have had the 5-2 that half of them landed on. So,
Well, there was also the about 15-1 loading into the gate that finished at about 8-1 that Josh was all over. So at Gulfstream, I mean, I think that was one of them. But yeah, it's hard. Also, because you're only looking at 8 players with 10 total tickets, because there were 2 people in the top 10 who were dual qualified people. And I don't know what their opinions were in those races, or what their perspective was. I think it's hard. You always see these people, they're stabbing at 30-1s, right? But how many of those people were finished dead last? And also, how many of those, people did they have those types of opinions in that type of a race? It's hard to know what people's opinions were, how they were approaching the sequence, what they were thinking. So yeah. And also, the money does get to you. It really mentally gets with you. Oh, hey, if I get this 5-2 right, I move up one spot, and that's 50 grand for a 5-2. Like, that's it. It does get to your head.
Yeah, I actually think it might be more interesting if they just end up turning it into like pick and pray at that point. Because if no one's going to take prices, then what the heck is the point of playing live, right? Isn't that the whole thing? Like, that's the thing everyone hates about live tournaments on horse tourneys. Everyone's like, oh, I love live tournaments until, right, they're sitting in first place by $10, right? They take a logical 4-1 shot, and all of a sudden some 30-1 booms capper, and this dude in 20th who had no shot to win, and that was his only chance, right? He hits it and he wins. And everyone's like, oh, this is why I hate live tournaments. Like, people just start picking in the bomb fest. So why aren't people picking bombs? I don't know. I don't get it. They're off at Charlestown. This 9 got out really early. I thought he was going to be the speed, but I just figured that, 40-1, and I figured he just kind of burned out early here.
He's already done.
That was a hell of a transition, Josh.
Yeah. Is that my 4 there on the rail? Is that the 3? I can't tell.
Your 4 is on the rail. Looks like 4th right now.
4 looks okay here. Come on.
4's. I need.
Come on.
There you go.
Come on. Don't do it, Mark. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, Mark.
Is he gone?
Okay, he's gone now. Oh, dude, how awful was that? By the way, like you guys doing that to me as a meme in the contest. Like, all right, right. Like, yeah, I was annoyed, but like, it's funny at the same time.
Me doing it to myself? Is that what we're going to?
No, but dude, like
all of us doing it to
dude,
you. Even Sheldon.
We were fist bumping each other. Like, we were just patting each other on the back. Like, because I had the horse too.
Was my
I had,
single to pick 5? I mean,
yeah.
it was worth like 3 or 4 to 1.
Yeah, we were just like, we thought we were the fucking smartest people ever, and we were just like fist
We
bumping
were until the
everything.
last 50 foot of the race when the
I
horse
don't even know if it was that
stopped.
much. I don't even think it was that long. It might have been the last like 2 jumps. Like their horse got 2 jumps to R1 and just freaking closed. It was one of the like mid to late races at Oaklawn. It was just
No, it was like the
incredible.
second. It was like the
It was
second
the
race
second
of the
race
day
at
at
Oaklawn.
Oh,
Oaklawn.
second
Oaklawn.
race at Oaklawn.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was later in the day.
It was really
Although,
early in the day.
it was really funny. It was kind of weird, a weird last chance, first chance, because Santa Anita canceled. So with Santa Anita canceling, like it was just kind of like, I don't know, like it took the wind out of the sails a little bit.
On the last chance, first chance
Or no, sorry, for Friday.
for Friday.
For
yeah.
Friday. What happened on Saturday? No, they added Santa Anita, right?
They
'Cause
added
had the
Santa
extra
Anita on
day.
Thursday.
So that took the wind out of my sails because no one wants to play Santa Anita. No, but yeah, it was just a weird weekend with that Santa Anita canceling on Friday.
Track selection at first chance, last chance was very odd because you had no Aqueduct, because Aqueduct's not only running Friday, Saturday, Sunday now. So you basically had Gulfstream, Tampa, Hawthorne, and what was it? Oaklawn was the other one. It was basically
Santa
those
Anita,
4.
yeah.
Wait, but there was no Santa Anita on Thursday.
On Thursday there was, yeah. They had the extra day.
There
Yeah,
was.
'cause they
So
had
you,
canceled
okay.
the week. They had canceled
Oh,
the week before. So
Oh, that's right.
ran
They
on
took, you're right.
Thursday.
They took everything off. They took everything off the turf, and that was where you had the 2-horse field, right?
No, I thought they had the.
That was
that
Saturday?
Saturday? Okay.
Yeah, it was
It
just,
all
it was
blends
just a weird
together.
weekend. Honestly, I much preferred the January date. Mind you,
Same.
like I said, I wasn't playing in this. I wasn't playing in the contest, or I didn't qualify into the contest in the last chance. But if I were, I would have preferred, I think, the January time. I don't know. It makes more sense. I don't know. This time of year, like so many tracks are saving their good races for those derby prep weekends, and it's like if you're doing it a weekend that's not a derby prep, like, what are you gonna do? Like, and I mean there was Tampa, but it's also Tampa and also chalked out completely.
Yeah.
So, and I think that probably is where I'm guessing Brian and Sheldon ran into trouble. That it was kind of a chalky day, huh?
I think it. I don't know. I think Brian did really well on Friday. I think he kind of stuck to his plan, stuck to his guns. I know he talked himself up one winner. It was like an 8-1, but with the exception of that, I think he kind of played the game he wanted. I don't want to say it was one of those days where there weren't prices. I think they were there to be found. I mean, not big prices. You weren't getting 20 to 1. So you were getting, your prices were 6 and 8 to 1 type horses. But I think Brian stuck to plan. I think Shu just had a bad day. He couldn't find winners. And then he was forced into very late realizing, okay, I'm way behind. I need to look for cap horses, and then started firing. And, sometimes you get behind the 8 ball and you end up with a real low score. But the reason you did is because you were forced into that hand, just given what happened earlier. And I think Brian got into that strategy as well. I think that both of them, so they weren't, I think race selection was a challenge. I think track selection is a challenge, but it doesn't matter whether you're in January or you do it in March. Those things are both going to be a challenge. Just you don't have that as many tracks running during the winter. So I do agree with you. I prefer the January date better, but mainly because it just falls into my calendar and it works a little better. And again, Santa Anita coming off the turf was a challenge if you were somebody that was looking to play those races. I know we had a table behind us that had some Santa Anita locals who were, very good at that track. That's their best track, and they were very frustrated they couldn't, use that insider knowledge that they had. So it was a challenge. It definitely was.
Caleb, would you go back again?
I would. Yeah, I would definitely go back. I do feel very vindicated in not spending much money trying to qualify for NHC throughout the year because as good as the trip as it was, I mean, kind of looking around, seeing the prize monies, doing the math, it sort of justifies the decision. It's like, it's not something I'm going to actively pursue, but if I have friends that are going to be in the contest or if I qualify on site somewhere or something like that, yeah, I would go back. It was fun.
Mark, I don't have to ask you. You look for any excuse to go to Vegas.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I mean, it's a fun time. Like I enjoy myself there. So
Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, like it really just sucks that it's such a bad contest, like
Yeah.
prize wise and everything. And like I understand it takes a lot of money to put that show on, but I mean, if I were to tell you that that contest was 20% markup, like yeah, it's still high, and like yeah, like it's still a lot to swallow, but that versus the 45% I think that it actually sits at. I mean, that's another what in that prize pool. That's another what $1 million, right? Because it was about $4 million this year, right?
Yeah,
Now you
Yeah.
you basically you probably give at least $1 million to first place, which they used to give $1 million out to.
right. A long time ago
Yeah, like 2012 or something like
when
that.
Baychalk won it, I think.
Yeah, and now it's been sitting at 800,000. But so I don't know. I honestly I think maybe they just pay out too many places. Um, which I mean I guess they really don't care, right? Because they just assume that people are going to just return that money through horse tourneys or whatever to try and get back there. But I don't know. It's just it's tough. Like there are ways to improve it. I don't know if the will is there to actually improve it. But I mean, the best part is obviously like hanging out with your friends in the room and degenning after. So, but I guess you could do that any time of year, right?
It's true. Breeders' Cup.
It is true. Like I said, I think a Breeders' Cup Vegas trip would actually work out really well, but we'll have to put that on pause for at least 1 year uh,
Yeah.
with Caleb's schedule. So, but nope. There's and Uncle Sully shows up. He says he trusts Vegas was somewhat profitable. Um, I'll tell you, man. On Wednesday night, I was almost ready to declare that this was going to be the best Vegas trip I've ever had.
We did good Wednesday.
Glad you guys did. I had a terrible Wednesday.
My trip started off well, and I just kind of like steadily lost until the last day, pretty much. But I didn't lose too much. It was actually a good trip. I didn't break quite even, but for 5 days in Vegas, coming out without having to break out the ATM, that's not too bad.
Oh, I wish I didn't have to bring out the ATM. That would have been great. But yeah, dude. Wednesday night, I do want to put a little bit of blame on Caleb. So I very much do not like. I don't play craps that often. And when I do, I play the bubble craps because it's $5. And when I do play, I play max odds. I play the cum, and I play max odds on the cum. And I put $40 in the machine, and next thing you know, I think I had like 800. And somewhere in there, Caleb was like, "Oh," he's like I look over and I see Caleb's only playing like putting money under the 6 and the 9, or no, the 6 and the 8. I'm like, wait, you can just play the 6 and the 8? He's like, yeah, and he's just like, yeah, this is how you do it. And then like I was like, okay, and so I was doing that, and I was like, okay. And then Caleb told me about the press. He's like, yeah, then you just hit the press button when you hit, right? So that way the next time it hits, it pays more. And so of course I think the first time I did it, that helped me get up to $800. But dude, I swear every other time Caleb and I sat at a craps machine, as soon as we pressed twice, it was just instant call for a 7. It was just like as soon as
It
like
was
there was any
clockwork.
significant money out there, 7. I think we lost like $300 each. Was that Wednesday night or Thursday night?
I
No, it was
think
Wednesday
that
night.
we were up Wednesday, and then it went south on us after maybe an hour or two on the craps. But yeah, I mean, we would like hit a bet, take the money, hit a bet, take the money, get about as much as we had out there in our pocket. So at this point, it's all profit. Press it 2-3 times, get $100 or 150 or whatever out on the table. Just need to hit like one or two more numbers, and then it comes to 7 every time.
But yeah, I swear we were just like every time after that, I'd get money out there 7, money out there 7. Clamps and we had just an awful run before I had hit the airport, but it was good. I mean, like I honestly like I had some really nice nice actual runs of being able to gamble craps that first night, video poker on Saturday. I was playing video poker and I ran it up to like I hit a couple four of a kinds. I was playing triple play and I hit four of a kinds on the first hand like 2 or 3 times, which pays 750 credits. And so I like ran it up to like 350, $400, then immediately ran it back down to 100, and I'm like, I'm gonna cash out. But yeah, it was fun. I did okay at betting the horses. I was very much just spot playing and playing a couple things here and there. But no, it was a good trip.
Yeah, I think I ended up being down a bit on table games and ended up using a little horse race betting to recoup those losses at the Aqueduct on, I think it was Sunday. So, but yeah, I know the funniest one was with Gary and I. We were in MGM Grand, sitting down playing 3 card. We sit down at a table. There's only one guy sitting at the table. He's way on the right, so on the one seat. And start chatting with the guy. And as soon as we sit down, this guy just starts hitting everything. He's like straights, flushes, just starts printing money. And he had to get up and go to dinner. So we sat there for probably 15, 20 minutes with this guy. And he probably rang up, $2,000, I want to say. So he gets up and, kind of walks away. And I look over at Gary. And knowing Gary, I figured Gary was going to hop right up and run over and jump in his seat. Gary equals clamps if I need to clarify that. But whatever. So he doesn't. So I didn't say anything. Whatever. But 2 or 3 minutes later, this couple who were from Northern Alaska sat down, and they sit down at the 1 and the 2 seat, and they instantly just start hitting everything. And it's like royals and straights and flushes. And about every 2 or 3 minutes, they're taking a $500 chip, put it in their pocket, $500 chip, put it in their pocket, $500 chip, put it in their pocket. And they must have each one of them had to run up 3 or 4 grand in profit in about 30 minutes. And then they are like, oh, got to get up, go to dinner. Gary and I then immediately hop over, take their 2 seats, and proceed to do squadouche with it. So, that's just kind of how things work.
Josh, didn't you get a mini royal and 3 card?
So Saturday morning, I'm just sitting downstairs, and I'm playing 3-card poker on an empty table. I'm in like seat 3 or 4, which is like the same seat that I was playing at that night before or 2 nights before with you, Mark. And I sit there. I'm playing by myself the entire time. No one's coming up. And the dealer's like, man, you need to get a hand. Like, something needs to happen here. I was like, I know. I was like, give me a good hand. And like literally the hand app, she puts, that deck into the shuffler. Guy sits down and he buys in. And he's in seat 1. And immediately that first hand, he just looks up and he goes, this is a big one. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I've been sitting here the whole time. This guy, so I'm like, this guy's probably got like a flush or a straight or something. No, he's got a mini royal. So pays 50 to 1. Pays 50 to 1 on his bet, and then there's a bunch of bonuses and stuff. So he made like $1,000. And he plays like 2 more hands. He tips the dealer like $5 and walks away. And I'm just like sitting there, and the dealer just looks at me, and she's just shaking her head. She's like, that was your hand. I was like, yeah, thanks. What am I supposed to do here? And then the pit boss comes over, and the pit boss is just shaking his head. He's like, that was your hand. I was like, great. Like, what is that? Like, both you guys telling me this, like, what is this doing for me here? Like,
so, I had something really similar happen at Bally's. I sit down, I'm at a table, and the table's full, with 5 or 6 spots or however many it is. Guy, and everybody's playing every hand. Guy to the right of me needs to stand up and like make a phone call, and they won't let you make a phone call at the table. So you got to stand up and step behind. He stands up, steps behind. The next hand, the guy to my left got a straight flush. And so I'm like, oh, great, awesome. So when the guy to my right sits back, they were buddies. The guy to my right and the guy to my left were buddies. So as soon as the guy to my right sits down, he was like, what did that hand cost you? And I was like, I think it's 25 a hand. How I was playing it, because there's probably a $15 table at that point. And he just takes $25 and plops it in front of me. He goes, I'm sorry. I was like, okay, cool. Thanks, bud. Like, at least you realized you cost me. But it's also like you gave me $25 and it cost me probably $500 or $600. So yeah, thanks.
I'm firing at this next race at Turfway here. I
am as well.
I got a 2-3-4 exacta box going here for $5. And then I got the 2 and the 4 are such big prices. I'd hate for one of them to win and me not have anything. So I got Caleb's favorite Josh bet, which is the 2-horse win bet here on the 2 and the 4. So I got $10 on each.
At Turfway, I have an 11 over 10 daily double, ice cold for I think I played it for $5.
All right, we got
And then
some
I have
plays
some.
coming in here.
Yeah.
I'll go. Sorry, Mark.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
So we got
The-
double here: 1, 2, 6, 7, 11, 8, 11, 8, and then the 1, 2, 6, 11. Nick likes the 5. Mark, what do you got?
I have an 11 over 10 double at Turfway. Then I win bet the. Oh, I end up win betting. I'm gonna look over here at it. Win bet the 7 at Penn National, and then at Charlestown, kind of my big bet is I have a double that's 1-7 over 8-9.
You got anything here, Caleb?
Yeah, I put a little trifecta. I wanted to do an 11-11 double, but it's just way too short. So I have 11 over 2-4 over 1, 2, 4, 8, 9, 12. I'm kind of with you, Josh. The 2 and 4 are really good prices here. I was hoping one of them would get the lead, and clearly that did not happen. But at least the 4 is still in contention. Maybe can do something.
Yeah, you're forced tracking right outside here.
I wouldn't be mad if it ended right here. Stop the race.
Never know what to do with those horses like Alfie Solomons who have a bunch of barn changes into these low percentage barns.
Luan seems to know what's going on this track though, so we'll see if who's that outside.
Well, Jay said it's all
So
speed. I have the 3 nowhere, so I need him to just phone home real quick.
I mean, they went blazing fast here.
Looks
This
like the
2
three's
needs
gonna draw off.
room.
Though.
This 2 is screaming for room, and he's gonna get sawed off. Oh, I need this 4 to rally. Come on.
I think there's a couple of horses that are gonna get the jump.
Yeah, 7 on the outside, 8 just inside of that.
No, and the 3's done.
And I like this 8. He ran. That's the I think Crowless or Ramos horse that I come off a Z pattern in his last race. I looked at him for a while.
It's Ramos.
Yeah, Ramos. I looked at that horse for a long time, but even in his untroubled races, his figures weren't really fast, so it was tough to put him on top. I had him underneath, but just 11 just was no good.
Yeah. I think they used up a little bit of that 11, keep in position. He just had
that was blazing fast. That was, they went 22 and 2 and 45 and 1, like at Turfway.
Yeah, you're supposed to pass the 3 though.
Yeah.
True. Crap, but what else were we talking about?
Somebody's asking what we went to eat. You want to go through the
Yeah, so we did Din Tai Fung the first night, which is always is basically a must stop anytime I go to Vegas now. It's not it's a chain, but they don't have one here in Chicago. So it's it's just, I don't know. I always end up there. And Mark, I know you've enjoyed it there. Caleb, what did you think? Did you like it?
Yeah, it was good. I was really impressed. I like the small plates kind of style as well.
Yeah.
You can try a lot of different things that I normally wouldn't get to.
Yeah, and then what did we do? Well, Thursday night you didn't eat anything, Caleb. I know that.
No, I had like 2 slices of pizza all day on Thursday,
which might have influenced the rest of the night. I actually ended up going to on Thursday. I ended up going to the steakhouse at Luxor to tender. I'd never eaten there. I just ate at the bar, and honestly, like it could have been. I don't know. I was very well lubricated at that point, so that steak tasted good. I don't know. I will not be able to tell you if you'll be able to replicate it. But I will say I had like an 18-ounce ribeye. I had a side of mashed potatoes. I had a piece of chocolate cake, a glass of port, I had a glass of Buffalo Trace, and I was feeling pretty good. And then I proceeded to go play 3-card poker with Mark for like 2 hours. So Mark, and I do have to ask because my memory of Thursday night is a little fuzzy for some reason. But I just remember at some point, I think I was double fisting, and the lady came around, the cocktail waitress came around, and you didn't even get to say anything. And I think I threw a $5 chip at her, and I said, "Bring him another drink."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That did happen. Yeah. It ended up being you were going through your drinks as fast as she could bring them. I had a line to my right of like 3 drinks that I was finishing off one so that I could exchange over. And you kept on ordering me another drink. So the line just kept getting longer to the right. But no, I did end up drinking them all. So, you know.
Yeah,
But
and
no, you were in rare form. It's the sauciest I've ever seen one Josh Rodriguez. And you were yeah, it was interesting. It was quite
was I
interesting.
tipping as much as I thought I was?
Yes, you
Okay.
were. You were tipping a ton. Yeah.
Because I think I
But
remember
our
at
dealer
some
was
point,
awesome. Our dealer she was great.
I remember at
That
one
was
point,
the Amy's, right? The 2
yeah,
Amy's. Yeah.
I remember at one point, Amy 1 was there, and I played the pair plus for her. And I just remember, I think I got got a flush, and I'm like, "Oh, Amy, you're gonna like this one, Amy," and because I think it pays 5 to 1, so her $5 tip turned into a $30 one. So, but yeah, yeah, Thursday was fun. Um, Caleb, you had a nice restful night,
I did. I
so
went to bed
we'll
early.
leave it
But
at that. There you go.
good too.
Friday we ended up off really slow. Is that when we went to Egg Slut? Did we go to Egg Slut on Friday?
That was because
Yeah, but it was like 1 o'clock by the time we made it.
it was about 1 in the
It's
afternoon
late.
because you two were in you two
We were zombie mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was we were in rough shape on Friday.
We rallied though eventually.
We did. We ended up going to Friday night. We ended up going to Tom Colicchio's craft steak, which I really like. That was the first time I'd ever done the tasting menu. And I think what I will say about the tasting menu is it's a shit ton of food. And I was really confused because it was 6 of us. And they're like, yeah, order like 4 or 5 of the tasting menu. And I don't know what, but at some point, Sheldon's like, are you sure? And then the guy's like, well, you can order 5. He's like, are you sure? He's like, well, I guess you could just order 6 of them. And like, for some reason, Sheldon's like, all right, well, yeah, if you say to order 6, let's order 6. I'm like, Sheldon, the guy said to order 4, not 6.
Yes.
But you just kept on talking to the guy.
Well, then this is the thing. The dealer or the server kept going over to Sheldon's side of the table, and I kept trying to get him to come around because the 2 of us were sitting next to each other. Because I was thinking it might be smart, instead of ordering 4 or 5 of the same thing, there was different levels on the tasting menu, and maybe we get 2 or 2-1-1 or something. We get a little more variety. But you guys ended up all going what, A5 American Wagyu, which
it wasn't A5, it was just American Wagyu, which
it was just American Wagyu, okay.
Which I think is technically like a hybrid.
It's a cross between a Wagyu and a Wagyu cow and a I don't know, Angus. I think it's Angus they cross them with.
I'll tell you, it was delicious. It was really good. Everything there was good, but I will say that there's definitely some things that are better than others. And when you do the tasting menu, it's like you get a little bit of everything. Like they might as well have not brought that filet out. Like they should have just kept that shit in the kitchen.
That filet was not good. That was not good.
I mean, it was just fine. Like look, if you order a filet, like just I don't know, like you just don't like meat. Like that's like the only thing I can think of. Like you just want something soft to chew on. Because like I do not understand anybody who goes to a steakhouse and orders a filet. Like I just do not get it.
Well, the thing I'll say is, first thing I think, well, not to bash the place, too bad. Obviously, we ordered way more food than we should have ordered. The food that did come out was, I think everything was good. I just think it was quite pricey for what it was. And also, when you order from a steak place and the flank steak is the one that everybody kind of raved about, it's like, wait a second, what's going on here?
The skirt steak was really
good.
The
skirt,
my favorite cut.
But like you have to understand though too the animal, right? If it's a piece of meat, if it's an animal that has a very high fat content, obviously the steaks that have higher fat content are going to be the ones that are going to taste better. And a filet has 0 fat, so why you would order a Wagyu filet? I don't know. I don't get it.
I guess I was disappointed because one of those was a porterhouse, right? And I was disappointed in that. I thought
I don't remember. There's a ribeye.
Was it a ribeye?
I think it was a strip. What are you thinking of?
But yeah, I bone-in ribeye is basically the only thing you should ever order at a steakhouse, and
agreed.
No one can tell me otherwise.
Or some sort of tomahawk or something like that. Yeah.
going back, anyways, and this is like I said, like I wasn't going to stop the ball rolling, but I will say that the three times that I've eaten there 3 times, I've had a regular, just dry aged steak once, and I've had the American Wagyu twice. And the best meal I've had there was the regular old dry aged ribeye. But they were really trying to sell that tasting menu. So I will say, like, when you kind of add it up, because there were 6 desserts, 6 appetizers, and there was 6 different types of steak, like the math checked out. But then, of course, Mark, like I love you, Mark, like right, like you're a very nice person.
Uh-oh.
But dude, there is
Uh-oh.
there
Gonna
is
get
this
dunked on.
part of you that just tilts the absolute shit out of me, right? And so here's where this happens this time. This is where this happened. Is this guy comes up and
Oh God.
Sheldon couldn't understand like what to like he didn't know what kind of wine to order, right? And so the Somm comes over. And as soon as the Somm shows up, Mark looks to me and he goes, "You want to make this guy's night a living hell?"
I don't think that's what I said.
Why is it the
I don't-
first thing
I
that you
don't
think
that's
of?
what I said.
But why do you want to ruin this guy's night? Why is that
I don't.
literally the
I don't.
first
I
thing that
don't-
pops in your head? You
I
want to
don't
ruin
think
this
that's.
guy's night.
I don't think that's what I said.
Okay, what did you say?
I don't know. I don't remember what I said. I think
I'm
I wanted
pretty
to
sure
pick.
that
I
was
wanted to
pretty
pick.
close to I think what you said.
I think I said something about like something like, you mind if I pick his brain on some stuff? You know?
No,
Something along those lines.
no. Mm-mm.
No,
No,
no.
I'm putting the alarm on that. No, it was definitely like I'm gonna embarrass this guy. I'm gonna embarrass this guy in his home turf. Um, Jay's got a 7-3 double here at Charlestown. Do you guys play anything here?
Yeah, I do. I have a 1-7 over 8-9.
I don't know
1-7
anything.
over 8-9. Okay.
I realize the one's a massive price, but I thought that the what's the trainer's days? Kevin Joy has really good first off the claim stats, and he's claiming from a very low percentage barn. So I thought that horse was an interesting one that maybe we haven't seen the best of.
I'm glad I skipped here because I would have bet the 4, and he looks like he's got no shot from here. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the first time I ate there, like the food I've gotten there has always been good.
I didn't even see the dry aged on the menu. Was it down like
It's
in
just
an
the regular
individual cup?
beef. The regular.
not
beef.
Oh,
Dry
the
aged,
regular.
yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. It's the but like yeah, they were really pushing the Wagyu. And I kind of feel like having had the American Wagyu and not had Japanese stuff, like I'm guessing that the American stuff has got to be, oh my god, this 4 better not do it.
I'm gonna get run down. Yep.
Don't do it.
Okay.
Oh, look at your powers working. Your powers work the opposite way too, Mark. I don't know. I feel maybe that American stuff's a racket.
That's kind
maybe.
of was, I'm kind of wondering the same thing. The more I think about it now, I'm wondering if maybe it was just we ordered the wrong things off the menu, and maybe that is a bit of a racket. Maybe it's you need to get the real stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I've always enjoyed it, and the service there's always good.
Oh yeah, service was great. Yeah, service was wonderful.
It's although to be honest, I don't know if I've ever had bad service at a place in Vegas. I definitely have, but
I don't know if I've ever had bad, but there's definitely different tiers of good, and I think they were wonderful. I mean, the servers were super attentive and super helpful in going through the menu and helping you figure it out and stuff. So no, I thought they did a real good job.
Yeah, Nick Feldman was saying last time he was in Vegas, he ate at Herbs and Rye. Herbs and Rye is a like locals joint just off the strip that has a really really good happy hour. I forget, it's like $15 or $20 off steaks, or maybe it's 25% off or something like that. So it's supposed to be a really really good place. They also I think have another concept called like Cleaver or something. I forget. I read about it all the time in the Vegas subreddit. I've never actually been. And I'll say one of the things, like most of the reasons why I stay on Strip and stick around there. And like I know like I miss out on stuff by not really leaving the Strip much. But I mean, part of the reason my wife and I like going is that just like as soon as you get to your hotel and you put your bags up there, like you could just walk everywhere. You don't have to there's nothing that you can't do or um you can't like find or anything like that like walking distance, you want to go to the spa, you want to go gamble, you want to go eat at a nice restaurant, you want to eat at a high end cocktail bar, whatever. You can do all that stuff and just walk there. But
Yeah, I was gonna say, Nick, it's really, really trendy right now to do wagyu, and they'll just flash sear the outside, and they slice it real thin, and they serve it nigiri style, which is how I've had it before, and I was really impressed. It's really, really good.
what did you think, Caleb?
I thought it was good. I kind of what you guys think. I thought the food was good. I thought we probably got too much, and some of the stuff I thought was better than others. But if I would go back, I think I'd probably just get a steak off the menu, kind of like you said. The tasting menu was cool though because I've never gotten to try like half the stuff that we got that day. So that was nice to get to try everything. And the wine I think was probably the best wine I've had. I mean that was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good bottle.
But yeah, I mean, definitely an expensive meal though. So if I go back, I'd probably get a steak off the menu and then a side and a bourbon or something. I'm just not a big wine guy.
So Caleb, let me dress it up this way. Would you rather have that bottle of wine, or what was your favorite appetizer that they had?
Appetizer.
I thought the salad was good. Honestly,
It was good, but I definitely can't pick salad. It's my favorite. What was that mushroom dish they had? That was good.
just the mushrooms and that was a side.
Was that a side? Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember which was which.
But all right, but
the charcuterie board was good.
Yeah, but like, would you rather have a appetizer, that skirt steak dish, and then the mushrooms and that dessert, or that bottle of wine?
Yeah, and that's exactly it, right?
Because that bottle of wine was $170, which is the same amount as one of the tasting menus.
Yeah, and we had two.
When they said it was the special, I was like, oh, what is that? Like a $60 bottle of wine or something like that? I did not know there was gonna be a one in front of it. But
I wasn't going to deny the resident Canadian his wine that he's been craving, but yeah, I mean, for me, I'd rather have a Buffalo Trace and then $100 and pick 5 tickets.
I will say that the Sheldon getting cheesecake may be my favorite. Like he was an absolute kid in a candy store. That was absolutely hilarious.
But yeah, no, it was it was a good time. We're already I'll be going Memorial Day weekend, the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend, and then staying through Thursday. It's usually really, I don't know what it is, but we booked this once. I don't think we stayed because I think we booked it during COVID or right before COVID hit, and then COVID hit, and obviously we had to cancel. But it's always cheap to come in like the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend and just like stay through the week. Maybe it's just like because everyone leaves on Sunday, so they have that Monday to recover. But I don't know. We've always been able to get a pretty good deal. So we got a nice corner suite at Vidara comped. So we'll have a good time there. But
yeah, I think a lot of the reason the pricing was so high was you had the fact that there was 5 basketball conference championships in Vegas that weekend, along with the fact that I kept feeling, I mean, I'm not the tallest person to begin with, but I felt like such a midget walking around Luxor because there was a freaking high school girls like national volleyball tournament, and there's all these like high school girls that are like 6'3" walking around everywhere, and I was like, but obviously I guess they were probably not
weren't
Mandalay.
6'3" because I'm 6'3". They were like
okay, they were like
they were 5'10".
I still felt short. So. But yeah, so there was a lot of other big events going on in Vegas that I think were driving prices to some degree.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it was a good time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to going back again. Obviously, if you guys can hear, I don't know what happened, but I caught some type of bug or something when I was out there, and like Thursday or Friday, I was just like super hungover, and then like I just thought that like I felt like crap because of the hangover, but then like I really just started feeling congested. So like Saturday, Sunday, I was pretty congested, and like it's really been until today where I finally like feel like it's for the most part out, but still a little bit there. But yeah, it's the I don't know if it was just being in that room all day Thursday, or if just watching Mark throw a disc golf disc into the to the light pole made me sick. But I do have I wanted to do like a little video vlog for it. Obviously, on like Saturday and Sunday, I just like did not like feel up for like recording something with my voice sounding so bad and everything like that, because it sounded even worse than it does now. And so I ended up kind of Saturday, Sunday, kind of backing off a little bit. But yeah, I'm sending it to Mark and Caleb for approval before I post it. Make sure that there's nothing incriminating in there, which there isn't. But maybe
Yeah,
Mark
I
will
watched
want
it through. It's good. There's nothing incriminating on there. You're good.
Yeah,
Just one
I
very damaged light post.
yeah, one very damaged light post. Yeah.
Hey, it's not the first time that light post has been hit by a disc, and it's not going to be the last.
I don't know. And the light
Who
post
puts a
told me,
light post? I mean, there's a T-pad, and dead center, right off the T-pad, like 6 foot off the pad, is a freaking light post. Who puts that crap there?
But speaking of disc golf, we do have a. Well, I was going to say one of a kind, but technically it's not one of a kind.
It's one of
Because,
four.
6?
it's one of 6. I can do a certificate of authenticity if you guys want. But we have a nice little on the wrong lead disc golf disc here. It's an Opto Pure, or not Opto. It's a Gold Pure. If that means nothing to you, don't worry. It means nothing to Caleb, and he got one too. But
It's a very nice putter. Very, very nice putter.
I thought they did a really good job. I thought the print job on this pretty damn good.
That was awesome. Yeah.
And they got it to me pretty quick. I thought about this at the last minute for the Vegas trip. But yeah, we will. I'm gonna figure out a way to give this thing away. I'll probably do something on Twitter and on here, and then we'll just do a little. We'll give it away and maybe toss some other swag in there with it. But yeah, how did you do at Penn? I don't have Penn up at all.
I did terrible at Penn. So
Okay, good.
yeah,
Just like Penn does at Penn.
yeah, exactly. Penn is just not good. But
Yeah, I
I
was
will
surprised
say-
that you even suggested Penn, but
what? Okay, how did I suggest Penn? No, I will say though, you talk about those. One interesting thing about NHC and we haven't talked about yet is just the people who you run into who are personalities and other people you've talked to. And I thought it was really cool. I know Emily from Optics. I don't know how on earth you say her last name, but Emily showed up and kind of swung by a few times. I know she wanted to interview Brian because Brian's part of that sort of Hawthorne group that goes to NHC every year, but she was super chatty and talked with us, and I was extremely impressed. I mean, I know she's very sharp. She's extremely sharp, but super nice, and hung out and chilled with us for a while, and was really, really super cool. And I saw her around a bunch, and also a lot of the other sort of faces that are a little more tournament focused that you see around NHC. So it's a pretty cool scene just to kind of again, I don't want to say people watch, but see who you run into, and that's that person, or I've played against them in horse tourneys a bunch, and you can put a name to a face. And actually, I never said hi to Noel Pink, which actually kills me, but he's a very nice guy as well. So,
what you got anything here at Turfway last race?
I fired something here. Yeah, this is chalky to me. I can't find a way around it. So I'm doing a straight 11/8 exacta. And I'm going to play another trifecta. The only horse that's going to make me sad if he sneaks in there and I don't have him is going to be this 2 at 19-1. So I'm also playing a try 11/28 over 2/8.
I really like the 10 in this race. I just have no money to fire at the 10. I tried to double into this 10. It's the one horse in the in the race, or one of few in here that's getting a little class relief, and I thought was kind of an interesting player here with the sort of hot local jock, taking the mount. So
Didn't you run this level last time and finish up the track?
Yeah, he did actually. I guess I was looking back at they've been running him at 15 and 30 levels, and they brought him back to 7,500.
That is a big jock switch, though. I mean, probably the second best or third best jock on the circuit from a low percentage guy.
Yeah, I got a win bet on this 8, and then I got 8 over 3, 11, 12 in an exacta, and I pressed the 8 over 11 exacta a little bit. So I see it pretty similar to you, Caleb. I just prefer the 8 here, but it's probably more that I just prefer the price, since the 11 is 4 to 5 currently.
Yeah, I actually had the 11 as a stable horse. I got the email yesterday from NH Play. Disappointed to see that he was 6 to 5 on the morning line and is currently sitting at 4 to 5. So not much you can do with that, but he was much the best last race. He just got into a lot of trouble. So we'll see. If he fires back the similar effort off the barn change, he'll be tough to beat here, I think.
And honestly, the next question, I have absolutely no idea. My thought would be he goes Fairgrounds, because I don't think I've ever. Is Arad ever gone to Turfway?
Yeah.
Has he? Okay.
Yeah, I think that Jeff Ruby has sometimes fallen on a different weekend.
Isn't this early for Jeff Ruby? I feel like it usually happens like later in the season. Because next week is our first of the major preps, right? And no, Tampa Bay Derby doesn't count.
No, Tampa Bay Derby definitely does not count.
Because it's Louisiana Derby next week. That's like the first.
That's the first 100-point race.
100,
right?
Yeah, 100-point race, right?
Isn't it normally the first 100-point race?
Louisiana Derby always is.
Yeah.
But I always thought the Jeff Ruby came later. But maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah, I was thinking Jeff Ruby was one of the later ones.
I always thought it was
like one of those last minute get in the Derby get. Yeah.
Or like not mid-April, but
yeah,
early April at least.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I had that in my head as well, but it doesn't mean anything.
Maybe not. Major Dude. Okay. Isn't that the Pletcher Turf Horse?
I think so.
I think it's the Pletcher Turf Horse I've tried to beat like 3 times this year and have not.
That definitely sounds right.
Yeah.
If it was a turf marathoner, then we'd know it was right.
Did you guys look at any of the weekend races at all?
Yeah, I looked at the Oaklawn stuff.
I looked at the 2 stakes at Oaklawn as well.
Yeah. So the first race 8 is the Count Fleet. I was just trying to see if I can get Mark to make a face, but he didn't even flinch. The Whitmore.
He didn't catch it.
Oh, I caught it.
Oh, he didn't.
I caught it. I 100% knew he was trying to trigger me, so I just ignored it.
I remember, I forgot what it was, but I think I at one point I had said something about like something similar to like I wouldn't have bet Whitmore with somebody else's money, and both Chase and Mark got very, very angry about me saying that. So, but interesting field here. You got a lot of speed signed up. You got the 3-1 favorite here is Tejano Twist, the 2. You got Cogburn at 7-2, Edge to Edge at 4-1, Flash of Mischief at 9-2. Then you got double digits on everybody else here. As the resident Oaklawn expert, Caleb, aka the only person who's probably cashed a ticket there all summer between the 3 of us, or all winter from the 3 of us.
No, I marked it okay.
I cashed multiple today. Christ.
Well, either way, Caleb, as the better looking of the 2 experts, what did you kind of think of this race here?
Yeah, this is a fun race, and I think it's awesome that Whitmore gets a race named after him. But anyway, I saw it similar to how you mentioned, Josh, is it does feel like there's a lot of speed in here, which makes it kind of tricky to handicap because it feels like the best horses are probably, some of those that do like to be forwardly placed, but they probably compromise each other's chances. I would probably guess that Cogburn is the best horse in this field, the 9. He came off a pretty long way off last out to win a fairly salty allowance, non-winners of 3. And now moves straight into stakes company, which he's already proven himself in the Chick Lang. But I think it's Yeah, it's fair to question him a little bit because he is the most outside drawn of all the speeds, and he's literally never not been first at the first call. He's gonna have to deal with other really fast horses to his inside, like King of the Fake Figs, Pirate Rick, and then you have Baytown Bear has some speed. You have a horse like Empire of Gold who's been known to go edge to edge, has recently discovered winning on the front. Likely he's gonna send. So I'm not like adamantly against Cogburn considering he is 9-2. I don't think he'll get that price. I think he is the best horse in their field, and the race probably goes through him. But I think Tejano Twist is probably the horse that gets the right setup in here. So that's the horse that they have as the morning line favorite. I'm not sure between him and Cogburn who goes off as the shortest price. But I think he's a horse that makes all the sense in the world. I mean, looks like a hot pace. He likes Oaklawn. He's coming in off some pretty good races. That last out in the King's Cotton, he was against Gunite, who's probably the second best dirt sprinter in the country right now after Elite Power. So I think no shame in that whatsoever. So yeah, I think those are your two likeliest winners. I did land on two horses at slightly better prices, but I'll see what Mark landed on first.
Yeah, no, I think Caleb kind of talked the two horses that I landed on. I think I would probably loan a Cogburn in here. I don't know how good he is at this point, but I do know he really likes to win, and that's not something a ton of these in here have really shown that they want to do consistently. And I do like he's got a bunch of wins at Oaklawn, so I know he handles the track. Santana has to invent a trip, and hopefully he just goes full send, tries to clear, and this Oaklawn track that at least today was quite speed favoring. So if that speed favor bias holds up, that he can kind of get out in the front end and clear and get real brave. I feel like I've seen a lot of these horses, and I don't want to say know what they are, but I think he's the one horse that's a little bit more lightly raced. He still has some potential upside, and I think he's a really, really interesting player in here. And I would kind of make him, my my top pick. And again, if you think this comes apart, Tejano Twist is your horse. So if you're going deeper than that, there's a lot of ways to go. So I'm kind of interested what prices you were looking at, because I think you could make a case for a few in here.
Yeah, I have nothing creative here. I think Tejano Twist gets the setup. I think, like you were saying, Tejano Twist seems to really, really like Turfway. So I have a hard time kind of looking past them here. But
by the way, Caleb, this is what happens when I don't have money to bet the horse.
I know. I'm watching the race, and I'm not even sure who's going to.
Is he going to get there though? Okay, he didn't. Whew.
He didn't get there. Okay. Was it the 8? It looked like.
It looked like the 8.
I hope so, because I got that exacta 10 times, and
I had the exacta for 30, but I think I didn't have the 8 on top, and I think he got the bob. Did they move the camera angle at Turfway, by the way?
They did.
Yeah, it looks different.
It looks better, yeah. Because do you remember that time that we were live? Were we live, or was it? Were we playing a league where I was just like thought I was dead in the water?
Oh, I don't know. It looks like the 11 on the slow mo.
Oof.
See, I wasn't paying enough attention, or I should have said Drake was gone.
Yeah.
See, I talked about the 10 because I wanted to mush myself, because if that horse won, I would have been insufferable.
Yeah. So what prices did you like here, Caleb?
Yeah. So the two prices, and I guess they're not really prices, but maybe like slightly outside the box kind of horses, was the 1 and 7, Spankster and Flash of Mischief. Now they have Flash of Mischief at 9-2. I don't know if he really goes off that short or not, but he is the kind of classic every other kind of horse, who doesn't put together 2 wins, and he actually doesn't even put together 2 good races for that matter. So he kind of ran a huge race, 2 back at Oaklawn, and then returned to the King Cotton and ran a stinker. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. I think he's going to return back to one of them big efforts, and his big race is good enough to win this race. I think he gets one of those mid-pack stalking trips to where perhaps he gets first jump on a horse like Tejano Twist, but doesn't get burned up with the rest of the speeds. The other horse I thought sits a similar trip that is more likely to get way overlooked is going to be the number 1, Spankster. This is a horse that I think is maybe just getting good at the right time. Maybe it took a little bit longer to put it all together. He didn't really debut until break his maiden June of his 3-year-old season. So a bit of a late start horse. Kind of had some growing pains along the way. They tried stretching him out a few times. That didn't really work. But they got him back to what he likes to do, sprinting, and he just seems to be a better horse at 4 years old compared to what he was as a 3-year-old. He only lost to Cogburn by basically less than a length, two back, and Cogburn is probably the fastest horse in this field on raw figures anyway. And then he came back to win a race in the slop, so he handles any condition. I just think this is a horse that gets a good trip and could upset at a decent price in this race. I saw they put the 11 up. But yeah, so I think the 1 and the 9, the 1 and the 7, excuse me, are kind of the two prices. I also think the inside's been fairly good at Oaklawn lately. It's something to watch in case it gets sloppy or not, but it doesn't look like they're going to get rain for Saturday. And I think the inside has been fairly decent most of the meet.
So, a similar type of trip. Did you make any case for the 3, Caleb, who's a horse that, has some races that are players in here, does very much like this distance, and, I think probably has every right to take it. Didn't love the slop in the King Continent. I thought had a horse that likes to, has liked to win in his career quite a bit. I thought Miles Ahead was actually a little interesting in here.
Yeah, I think you can absolutely make that same argument essentially for the 1 as you can for the 3.
Yep.
I think that the ceiling might be a little limited because you are talking a 6-year-old horse that, maybe you have to wonder, if he's got another big effort in him after 2 pretty big ones in the middle of last year. But third off the layoff, his form cycle would suggest a step forward here. I definitely think he's a player in here too. And he'll be probably a bigger price than either of the 2 that I mentioned.
Let's move on to race 9 here. The Essex going a mile and 16th here for 4-year-olds and up, and you got a lot of the Oaklawn specialists in here, or at least guys who run in these stakes races all the time. You got Rated R Superstar, you got Necker Island, you got Silver Prospector. Didn't Last Samurai win an Oaklawn race last year too?
Oh yeah.
Well, he just won the Razorback.
Yep.
But Last Samurai is installed as your 5-2 favorite with Vittorio here at 3-1, Forza de Oro at 7-2. Then you get Silver Prospector, Necker Island, and then everyone else at double digits here. Mark, where did you kind of see it here?
Yeah, so one of my horses is going to be Last Samurai, who Josh mentioned, who came off a good Razorback, loves Oaklawn. Seems to be this trip is good for him, and he seems to be in pretty darn good form right now for the coach. So I thought Last Samurai makes all the sense in the world here. And the other horse that and I will say when I talk about this race, I think this race is wide open. I think there's probably 5 horses in here that could win, on any day. I think this is actually a really interesting betting race. And with that said, I'm the other A horse that I had in here is a horse that I think that the morning line is absolutely atrociously bad on, and that's the 4, Call Me Fast. This is a horse that I don't know why it took them this long to stretch him out, but now that they've stretched him out and he's turned 4, seems to be he's finding his best form. I don't know if that if he bounces to the moon off that last effort. Came back as a 120 on time form, which is very similar to what Last Samurai's Razorback was. But he's a horse that's going to be forwardly placed. I think there's a couple question marks. One is, does he get hooked up into a speed duel? And B is, does he bounce to the moon off that optional 62 that he won? But if he can get through either of those, he's a and I think he has strung off 2 in a row, and Arietta has been on, I think, for all 3 of the wins. So he's a horse that I think has a lot of upside here. Maybe one of those horses that with that 3 to 4 year old jump really kind of moved him forward, and and he comes and becomes a major player in this division, which I think you're seeing some of the players of this sort of handicap division getting their start for the year. So it'll be interesting.
Caleb?
Yeah, I also found this race to be really challenging. I think there's a lot of players in this race, and it's hard to really take a strong stance against the favorites. I think that Last Samurai, he makes sense in here. There's no reason to think he shouldn't win this race, but I don't love the draw way out in the parking lot. That's a tough draw for a horse like him who doesn't have enough speed to really secure the lead or get forward position, but really doesn't want to be last either. So he can't just, give up all the ground and tuck in behind everybody. So I do think while he may be a deserving favorite, I do wonder if at 5-2 from that post position, if that's a horse I really want to go bet, because I just think he's going to the race flow with that draw is going to work against him a little bit. I did think that Mark's 4-horse Call Me Fast was interesting. I was interesting is probably the most I can say. I like the horse at 15-1. I think he probably takes more money, as Mark alluded to, and there's a price where I think he takes too much money. I don't know where that is, but I just really wasn't sure what to do with him. Those last 2 races feel like they came out of nowhere. So I don't know if he has a third good race in him or if he's more likely to go backwards. Coming back on, third race in 3 months. So I wasn't really sure. I thought that the total wild card in the race was probably Classic Causeway, who is he running here? Like, do we know he's not going to scratch or something like that?
Do we know if he actually likes running on dirt?
I don't know. I mean, he's a horse that was a good horse as an early 3-year-old and then wasn't good enough for the Kentucky Derby. They clearly got too ambitious. He came back and ran a good race in the Ohio Derby, for such a thing, as good as a race as you can run in the Ohio Derby, and then ran some really nice races on the turf. Had everything his own way, but nevertheless ran some very credible races. It feels weird they bring him back here on the dirt. I don't know what they're really going for, but the horse handles the dirt. He has just a boatload of early speed, and he's got he's the classiest horse in the field probably. So he's the wild card. If you get anywhere near 15-1, which you won't, you'll probably get like 4-1. But even at 4-1, I think that horse is a player because depending on the tactics used, the race really goes through him even if he doesn't win.
Yeah.
So I think he's just a really interesting player in this field. Beyond that, like I said, there's a lot of ways you can go. I looked at the number 2 Vittorio. 3-1's not the right price for me there, especially when Charge It came back to disappoint next time out. But I do think he is a big player in here. And I even looked at a horse like maybe Keystone Field, who ran some huge figures against weaker competition before absolutely failing to show up last time out. If you can find a way to sort of forgive that last race, then almost any of his previous 4 would be good enough to win this, albeit, once again, against weaker company. So a very interesting race that I couldn't latch onto a strong opinion other than the fact that Forza d'Oro can't win.
I was going to ask you what you thought about Forza d'Oro, but that answers that question. Why do you think he can't win?
Because he can't get the lead, and he's not good enough to rate and pass against this field, I don't think.
That's fair enough.
He basically ran against the same horses in the last 2, and then both of those horses, Happy American and Mr. Wireless, came back to not run great on the Risen Star card.
Yeah, I will say, I know Josh hasn't given his picks yet, but I don't want to beat up too many horses here. But Caleb's 9, Keystone Field was a horse I'd written out. I was really interested in getting. If you're a believer in form cycles and you like the every other horses, this is the every with him. And if you go back and look at his races, that he ran a clunker on that Razorback. The optional 62 before it was really, really good, and then 2 back the CC Jewel at Churchill was also very good. So, maybe he just needed that to stretch his legs in the Razorback, and this is, kind of the target all along. So he seemed like a really, really interesting player in here. I think you'll get every bit of that morning line on him just because there's a lot of unknowns. I don't want to talk over you, Josh, because I did have one other horse I want to talk about.
Do you think there's any chance this race melts?
Yep. If the 5 stays in, I think it melts.
I don't think it melts, no. But I think if Classic Causeway does run here, then I think him and the 4s, and to some extent the 7, probably diminished each other's chances pretty heavily. But I don't think it's going to melt to a horse like, Rated R Superstar, for example. I think it's more likely to go to a mid-pack horse like Vittorio or somebody like that.
Yeah, because I was just kind of looking at it because, I see that Briz has got Classic Causeway marked as an E5, but in all reality, you would think that number should be higher, right? He should be very much, he's very much a need to lead type, and maybe they're like looking at that turf mile race and the Derby and kind of adjusting it. But like this horse was, going into the Derby, everyone was like, this is going to melt this race down because of him and the Japanese horse that was in there, and but yeah, I was kind of looking at off the pace type horses. I don't think I I don't think that this is it for Rated as our superstar. I really think that he's 10 at this point. Very much, I think has had his best races. I almost feel like either going slightly longer or slightly shorter. But I guess Vittorio makes sense. I'm not a huge fan of the price. Um, so I don't know. I end up kind of landing on a horse, maybe like Tawny Port in this spot. Um,
Didn't you shit talk Tawny Port like so much not that
oh,
long
I should
ago?
talk Tawny Port so much, so much. And I really still like. I don't know. Even if this thing melts, like I don't know. Like I do want someone to come off the pace, but is that going to end up just setting this up for the 10 Last Samurai? Like, do you think he's just going to get kind of a similar trip that he got in the Razorback, where he sits 3 lengths off and just gets first run on everybody and wins? Of the speeds, I definitely I agree with you guys. I think Call Me Fast. It looks like a horse that's been on the improve, um, and obviously he's 2 for 2 here at Oak Lawn, so it's really hard to fault anyone there, or even heck, maybe even a horse like Silver Prospector. But once again, this is a horse I feel like who's done his best running, going shorter. So I don't know. This is a tough race. Like the 10 looks good, but I like you guys kind of said, it does look fairly wide open. I think you could almost make a case for at least half the field in this race. I tried to get to a horse like Necker Island, but he's another one that I think he's done his best running shorter when they cut him back, not necessarily routing. But I don't know, Mark. Were you going to talk about Tawny Port? Is that who you like more?
I was going to talk about Tawny Port. I thought Tawny, if the race fully comes apart, I think Tawny Port is a really interesting player in here. If you look at how he was campaigned last year, his Kentucky Derby, Ohio Derby, and Jim Dandy, all the figures that they threw up in those 3 races would all make him I know, arguably the fastest horse in this race. I know Caleb wanted to talk about Classic Causeway being the classiest horse in the field. And I almost think you can make a case that Tawny Port's the classiest horse in the field. Clearly something did not go right in that Pennsylvania Derby. He threw an absolute clunker and, was, just absolutely got demolished. Gave him a really, Brad gave him a really long layoff. And, I sort of wondered, did he need that mine shaft race to take a step forward and be a major player here? If that sharpened him up a little bit, he may be a major player. Now, he obviously he does need to set up, and he's not a horse that's ever been a win machine. He definitely needs a little help in front of him, but I think he gets the setup here, and it's just a matter. And Bejarano's been riding phenomenal, so it's just a matter of, is he good enough, and did that long break really set him up to fire his A game here? He's never been a consistent horse, but when he brings his A game, he's dangerous.
Yeah, not a horse for me. I think I just think he hasn't improved at all for a long time, and probably going the wrong way in his form cycle. But he probably does sit a good trip, and Bejarano is riding well, so I don't disagree with either of those points. And if you do happen to get 15-1, that's a good price. Although it's hard to imagine a Brad Cox horse going off at Oaklawn.
Oh, nice! I got $5 back because one of my horses scratched at.
That Turfway Exacta was $13.70 when I fired it, and it ended up paying like $7.20 for 2. So not exactly the winner I was hoping to have, but it puts me up to $119.
Did I tell you guys, I told you guys that Russ invited us to party at his cabana on Sunday, right? Unfortunately,
Nice.
We were in Vegas a week too early for that. But Russ says Ralphie aboard Tawny Port is a major play, so he likes Bejarano being aboard there. There's another. Who's the other Brad Cox horse in this race?
Forza Dioro.
Forza Dioro, the one that you didn't like, that you hated.
Yeah, I don't.
Who do you like less here, Caleb? Tawny Port or Forza Dioro?
Forza Dioro.
Wow. Okay. Is it because Flo's aboard?
Yeah. I don't know how long he puts him up. I really don't.
You got anything here at Charlestown, which I think will be the last thing we look at tonight here, race 6.
Pay out for
it's
me.
only race 6.
Yeah,
And
payout
so-
for me here would be to the 8 or to the 9 on the double.
Also, you're alive in something here, Mark.
Yeah, I'm alive to a double, which is going to
8 and
pay
9.
nothing.
Well, if you get better than 7-2, you'll beat my my exact.
I was hoping they would be on time because they're running quite late at Charlestown right now. So I was hoping they'd be on time, and then I could fire the late double because I actually did really like the late double.
Mark was hoping they'd get 5 races in an hour and a half to try and get as many races in as possible.
What do you have here, Mark? The 489.
No, just the 8-9.
Oh.
Uncle Sully, we did trash Flo real quick here. He said, "My goodness, the first time in recent memory, no jockey was trashed during the filming and filming of this live stream." So
Yeah, no, Flo is And I'm disappointed that you didn't mention that that Pratt the one horse couldn't, or the horse couldn't win because Pratt was up. I'm a little disappointed in you, Josh.
Dude,
Yeah,
Pratt is like
Pratt-
56% in Oklahoma. Granted, it's like 9 starters, but still.
So it's just bad TV if I don't fire here, even though I looked at this race in like
Yeah, that'd
10
be bad
seconds.
television.
So I'm gonna fire at this. I think I'm gonna fire at this 3.
Yeah, they are 25 minutes behind currently at Charlestown.
Get a little $10 win bet in this 3, and then a $5 exacta box 3 with 9. Here we go. Road Warrior. We don't get the Pratt hate, especially when Rosario exists. I'd argue Rosario's best is much better than Pratt's best, but that's just me.
Yeah, but Rosario's worse is also much worse than Pratt's
Oh,
worse.
much worse. Much worse.
My thing with Pratt is he takes a ton of money. He's always taken a ton of money for whatever reason, and I just don't think he moves horses up relative to the amount of money he takes. I mean, you occasionally get a little boneheaded ride with him. You don't never get anything terrible, but he's somebody who just all of his horses just get bet off the board. I mean, look at him at Saratoga all summer. He just super short prices, and did he ever move them up?
Chad Brown's mounts, of course.
Yeah, but so did everybody else. Chad had freaking 4 horses in every race.
Oh, that's so funny. So I ordered wings with my pizza, and so I brought up what I thought was like the little like packet, it was like a paper bag. So I thought it was a paper bag filled with ranch sauce, filled with cookies. So I just brought a whole bag of cookies up with me instead of what I thought was ranch. But
Solid. You're gonna eat them anyways, though.
not all 4 of them. Well, maybe all 4.
Don't lie, Josh. Don't lie.
Not in the sitting.
Don't. Yeah, and to Uncle Sully's point, I think there are a lot more horses that when Rosario gets up, that horse runs their A race than when Pratt gets up, then they suddenly run their A race. But Rosario is hot garbage right now, but that's kind of normally how he is. He only shows up for the big races this time of year, and then he'll go to Naira during the summer and win everything. So
It's funny, the 2 jocks with the highest win percentage with more than 20 starts at Saratoga last summer were Pratt and Rosario. Actually, Rosario and Pratt, if you want to be technical about it. But yeah.
how about Javi?
He was 17%, but he had about 50 to 100 less mounts than most of the others.
I
He
know
probably had the best first half of the meet for sure.
Yeah.
He was just incredible.
He faded badly the second half,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I mean, obviously, Irad wipes everybody up with earnings, but
Yeah, but that normally it's because Rad rides literally every race.
yeah.
I know Rad's also getting all the A+ Chad Brown horses.
A plus everybody. He gets the A+ Chad Browns and he gets the A+ guy
Fletchers,
you've never heard
yeah.
of claiming horse that's going to run off the page by 10 lengths. But yeah, Rosario is not doing good right now. He needs to give up that inside trip that he tries to make work on every single horse, where he just sticks up the fence and tries to close inside. That drives me crazy.
Is it just at Gulfstream though that doesn't work, and therefore they're at Gulfstream now, so his move doesn't work?
I mean, I feel like he's gotten burned by it as many times as it's worked for him at Naira, if not more. Like if you're on a 20-1, then I don't really hate it. But if you're on a 7-5, then just keep clear and ride him like he's the best horse. And speaking of which, this 4 horse is going to run off into the
Run a
sunset.
freaking hole in the wind, Christ!
Oof. I wasn't even close there. That's why I don't play Charleston.
Yeah, I was also not close.
That was the HTR horse, Josh.
No, well, the 4. Yeah. Okay. Don't let me get Sally over here. Yeah. I mean, I think the fact that Rosario won the Belmont with Sir Winston should get him in the Hall of Fame by itself.
The
But
goldest rail of all Belmonts.
but yeah, I think that's gonna do it for us. Like I said, it's kind of a slow weekend racing. I know I got a beer festival I'm going to on Sunday, so I'll probably be pretty light this weekend. And of course I say that, and I'll probably churn like $2,000 or something stupid. What do you guys got going on this weekend, Mark? Anything?
I'll be skiing this weekend. It's a fairly quiet weekend. We just got 36 inches of snow, so gonna get out there a little bit before it all goes away. And next big weekend for me will be the following weekend, which is Dubai World Cup, where I will be firing away right and left.
Caleb?
Yep, I'll be around this weekend. I'll be taking it easy after Oaklawn 2 weeks ago and then Vegas last week. I definitely need more of a low-key week with some downtime. So I'll be hanging around. I'll be in Discord and stuff. So I'll be here.
You had like 15 hours of sleep on Thursday, though.
Yeah, but drunk sleep doesn't really count.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Catch us at ontherwronglead.com at wrong_lead. We'll be live next week again with we'll be going over some racing. Maybe we'll appease Mark with some Dubai World Cup, but we'll see. Yeah, until then, we'll catch you guys later.